In 10th century Germania, near the Teutoburg forest, a commander saw a woman in white lying by the roadside and harbored ill intentions. However, he quickly paid the price for his thoughts. A man covered in paint blends in with the rocks, and the seemingly peaceful canyon suddenly becomes full of danger. The Roman army, under attack, was on the defensive, quickly forming a shield wall to fend off the fierce assault. The ambushers in the forest seemed to have anticipated this. A burly man forcefully swung his axe, cutting the ropes tied to the trees, and a massive amount of earth and rocks tumbled down the slope. This impact rendered the army's seemingly sturdy shield wall useless, even overturning chariots with ease. The lightly armed forest tribe overwhelmed the fully armored soldiers, gaining a one-sided advantage. The burly man let out a thunderous roar, venting his battle fury. A year after the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, Arminius led the barbarian tribes to victory, but the Roman Empire still claimed the land as their own. The group intercepted a Roman supply convoy. Arminius discovered large tents in the supplies that could accommodate thousands of people. He realized that the Roman Empire might be preparing for another large-scale war, as such tents were typically used for large army encampments. The Romans continued to send reinforcements to the front, this time led by Tiberius. Unlike the previous commander, Varus, who had failed, Tiberius was more cautious. Facing the powerful Roman army, Arminius needed to unite the tribes again to resist the invaders. At this moment, a young man named Flavius arrived in Germania. He was Arminius's younger brother. Flavius had completely identified himself as a Roman and even vowed to help the Romans capture his brother. He saw Rome as his support and betrayed his barbarian heritage. Arminius woke up from a nightmare, checking on his crying son, only to find Varus. This time, he was fully awake. At the tribal assembly, all the chieftains were dressed in their finest, and Arminius sought their support against Rome. Initially, the atmosphere was harmonious, but unexpectedly, a chieftain named Marbod stood up in opposition. Like the brothers Arminius and Marbod, they were sent to Rome as hostages when they were young. Marbod was not released back to the tribe until he was 17 years old and became the chief. He had not clearly stated his stance before, but at the assembly, he suddenly changed his attitude. It turned out that Arminius's brother, Flavius, had promised him benefits. Marbod also wanted to be the leader of the united tribes and was willing to trade with Rome. Ultimately, the tribal assembly ended without any results. After the assembly, Arminius wanted to confront Marbod. In the mist, he saw a familiar figure and, upon approaching, discovered it was his brother, Flavius. The brothers met with no hint of familial affection and immediately drew their swords. Flavius blamed his brother for ruining his life, but he was no match for Arminius in the fight. As they struggled, Marbod picked up a stone and struck Arminius from behind, knocking him unconscious. After Arminius was captured by the Romans, no one in the tribe was willing to help. Tusnelda, helpless, could only seek assistance from Folquin. After Arminius was taken to the Roman camp, the Romans were filled with hatred for him. In the tribe, he was a respected hero, but to the Romans, he was a traitor, and they all wanted him dead immediately. However, the commander, Tiberius, was not in a hurry to kill Arminius. Tiberius, a shrewd man, knew that if he killed Arminius at this time, the new successor might not be easier to deal with than Arminius. So, he decided to imprison Arminius instead. A night passed, and Arminius had not returned home, leaving Tusnelda in a panic. She searched everywhere and found only Arminius's injured horse. Furious, she confronted Marbod, demanding to know her husband's whereabouts. Marbod said that they were ambushed by the Romans while they were talking. The other side had too many people and he could not defeat them at all, so he had to choose to protect himself. He also mentioned he was injured and regretted Arminius's disappearance. Tusnelda did not believe him but had no proof. So she returned home, determined to find another way to rescue her husband. Tusnelda decided to go to the Roman camp to investigate. Before she could act, she was ambushed by Romans. Fortunately, she and her companions were skilled fighters. And after a fierce battle, they eliminated the Roman squad. From one of the Romans, she learned that Arminius was still alive. Next, she began planning her husband's rescue. She sought help from the chieftains, but they only offered condolences and were unwilling to assist. Tusnelda refused to give up and decided to rescue her husband herself. After settling her child, she set out on her mission. The Roman camp had many soldiers, and to meet their needs, A market was set up where nearby tribes could sell their goods. Tusnelda took this opportunity to infiltrate the camp but was stopped by Roman soldiers. They informed her that only Romans could enter to buy goods, a rule Tusnelda was unaware of. Just then, Marbod appeared, making her even more certain that he had betrayed Arminius. Tusnelda was about to sneak into the barracks with the cavalry, but was caught on the spot. At that moment, Folkwin appeared. Folkwin lied that Tusnelda was his sister, saying that she had suffered a brain injury when she was a child and her IQ was not normal, which allowed Tusnelda to sneak out of the city. Folkwin was now married to a Carthaginian woman. Hearing Tusnelda's story, Folkwin's wife felt sympathy and agreed to help rescue Arminius. At first, Folkwin was reluctant to help. After all, he had finally gotten over his past relationship troubles and didn't want to get involved again, but after his wife's persuasion, he decided to help. The next day, the three entered the Roman camp. Folkwin's wife demonstrated her flying knives, claiming they were made of special materials and extremely sharp. The Roman soldier assisting her showed no fear. Tusnelda couldn't see the location of the prison cells in the front of the barracks, and was very anxious. She wanted to check the back but had no good reason to go there without raising suspicion. Folkwin appeared, acting drunk and attacking the Roman soldiers. As expected, he was captured and taken to the prison. Though he claimed he wouldn't help, he couldn't bear to see Tusnelda in distress, as he once loved her. Folkwin was led away by the soldiers, followed by Tusnelda and Folkwin's wife. After arriving at the cell, Folkwin immediately regained consciousness and subdued the Roman soldier guarding him, and the two women also killed other guards. At this moment, a man suddenly appeared. Folkwin wanted to get rid of this man, but was stopped by Arminius. Arminius revealed that the child was his son from Rome. Folkwin hesitated but then let go. However, Gaius suddenly turned and stabbed Folkwin's wife. Tusnelda knocked Gaius unconscious, and Arminius told the others to flee while he stayed to handle the situation, planning to escape with his son. At that moment, Arminius's brother, Flavius, arrived, and the brothers faced off again. With no brotherly affection, they fought fiercely. Eventually, they escaped the Roman camp, with Arminius following closely behind. He put on Flavius's military uniform and escaped with his unconscious son, while Flavius was imprisoned in a cell. Arminius's escape was slowed by carrying his son, and he was soon caught by a Roman cavalry squad. In desperation, he used his son as bait, luring the cavalry into a deep pit. The Romans fell into the trap, and Arminius hid on a cliff. He pulled a lone Roman soldier off the cliff and killed another before the remaining soldiers were eliminated. Soon, only the squad leader remained. The captain threatened Arminius with Gaius, and seeing his son in danger, he came out of his hiding. Arminius told the squad leader to deliver a message to Tiberius. This land belonged to the Germans, and any further Roman invasion would be met with fierce resistance. Arminius returned to the tribe with his son, and the sight of humans and small animals living in harmony astonished Gaius, who had grown up in Rome. Arminius left Gaius with Oddvolf, whose bedroom was a pigsty. Gaius wanted to leave, but Oddvolf was so strong that he could not escape. In the middle of the night, Gaius couldn't stand the smell of the pigsty and tried to sneak away, but Oddvolf caught him. Folkwin's wife was severely injured during the rescue and was treated by the tribe's shaman. During the treatment, the pain triggered her memories. She recalled a Roman soldier, Germanicus, who had killed her father. She was young at the time and had only vague memories, but the injury made the traumatic experience clearer. After this, Arminius and his wife, Tusnelda, had a falling out. Tusnelda was furious that Arminius had a son and never told her. She felt betrayed. Arminius did not explain much, as the facts spoke for themselves. He proposed moving Folkwin's wife to a safe place, as the tribe was about to go to war with Rome, and the traitor Marbod needed to be punished. Outside, Tusnelda would give Chief Arminius face, but when she got home, she put the knife directly to Arminius' neck. Tusnelda said that when everyone was unwilling to save him and said he was dead, She was the only one who believed that he was still alive, even risking his own life to save him. But Arminius hid the fact that he had a son. At this time in the Roman camp, Flavius was stripped naked and allowed Arminius to escape. So he was regarded as an accomplice. Despite his explanations, the Romans did not believe him because of his barbarian blood. He and 3 others were punished for this. Germanicus used them to boost the morale of the Roman army, executing the others but sparing Flavius. Flavius, terrified, shouted that he and Marbod were childhood friends, hoping this would save him. Tiberius is wondering whether to let him go, while Germanicus is eager to execute Flavius.